Hi guys, how you doing? Hi guys, how you doing? My name's Neil. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about two brand new albums that have come out. One is by Lamb of God and the other is by Lost Society. Let's talk about Lost Society's new album first. It's called If the Sky Came Down, and it is an absolutely fantastic album. I really love Lost Society. I'd never heard of them until 2021. I don't know why they'd escaped me all these years. But the guitar work on the album is absolutely fantastic as always. The riffs are heavy but full of groove, and the vocals are powerful but also melodic. I really like really heavy music and heavy guitars with melodic vocals. Some people would describe this as like rock music. It does come in and out of the realms of rock into metal and then back into rock again, and I think it works really well and it gives the album and the music a lot of diversity. I really like the melodic vocals on there. There's plenty of heavy guitars. One of the things that I really like is the grooves that Lost Society use. I think they are one of the bands out there that are still relying on good songwriting rather than just being heavy. So check it out, the new Lost Society album. I will put the link down there in the description to Lost Society. The next album I want to talk about is Lamb of God. So for those of you that don't know, Lamb of God are like my favourite metal band. They never seem to let me down. Every album they release is good and I always like it, and it always sounds like Lamb of God. You hear it start, you know it's Lamb of God straight away. Omens is the name of the new album, and this album is typically Lamb of God. They have moved to quite a more mature melodic side, and I like that side of them. It's not quite as heavy as back in the Sacrament days, you know, from that era, but it is really good, and I really like the album. And I'm really happy because Slipknot released an album last week and I wasn't that keen. I've listened to it about 4 times now. I've tried to get into it and it's just not for me. You know, I like my music melodic, like I keep telling you in this video. So the Slipknot melodic stuff I lean towards. I tend to lean towards All Hope Is Gone and The Grey Chapter and things like that. But for some reason, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a metal album really to me, the new Slipknot album. There are parts of it obviously that are typically Slipknot, but they are few and far between, and for me the melodies aren't catchy enough. You know, I'm not having a go at them, obviously they're a brilliant band, but I just think that the new album was a bit of a letdown. Thankfully, Lamb of God have not let us down, and neither have Lost Society. They've released 2 absolutely cracking albums that need checking out. They'll be on my gym playlist, that's for sure. The next thing I want to talk about in this video is my Peavey 6505. I've had quite a few messages from people who have been watching my amp shootouts, and they have noticed that I've not put the 6505 in any shootouts yet. The Peavey 6505 Plus has been in plenty of them, but the 6505 has not actually been in any yet, and there's a reason for that. I bought this amp used and it was a bit of a gamble. I bought it at a really good price, but when I tried it out, I tried it in a massive echoey garage, and I just thought, you know, something didn't sound quite right, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. All the gain was there and everything. I did notice a power tube was particularly noisy. When I got it home, it sounded okay at, you know, this type of volume, you know, bedroom volume, and I even made a video about the amp. But when I came to record the amp properly and make another video, what I noticed was that there was hardly any volume, a lot of low end missing, a lot of power just wasn't there. So the first thing I thought was it must be these faulty power tubes. You know, they're definitely very noisy and make woofy crackling noises. I swapped them out with the 6505 Plus, and the noisy tubes were still noisy in the 6505 Plus. I then swapped all the preamp tubes, and the preamp tubes in the 6505 were a funny mix and match of tubes that just seem to be, I don't know, just slotted in, you know, willy-nilly all over the place basically. And I thought it was a bit odd, and clearly somebody has messed around with the tubes and probably messed around with this amp quite a lot. One thing I will say is that Peavey are one of my favourite amp brands. I mean, you can see I've got a JSX behind me as well there that I absolutely love. It's one of my favourite amps. They're very reliable usually and very tour-worthy. So this is not any discredit to Peavey amps, this video. The only reason I'm making this video is because if you guys have a tube amp and it has a similar problem to this, then this video might help shed some light on what is happening and what is wrong with your amplifier. Might not be a Peavey, it might be a completely different brand. And like I say, somebody could have abused this amp before I got hold of it. It is quite a few years old. It's an American version, not a Chinese version. So yeah, I'm basically going to play the amp to you so you can hear what the problem is. As I play through the amp now, I will be telling you what the master volume is on, or what the post gain volume is on there, should I say. If you're watching this video and you know anything about tube amps, you will realise how quiet this amp actually is, because I will get it up to volumes that if I was using, say, my 6505 Plus, they would be shaking the studio down. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to plug this thing in. I'm going to play a couple of riffs on this amp and show you what the problem is with the amp. And then when I finish the video, I'm going to put this amp in the cart and I'm going to take it to a local amp tech, Roswell Amps, here in Yorkshire. They're actually located at South Elmsford, which is just about 40 minutes up the road. I'm going to take this to Dave, who is Roswell Amps, and get him to take a look at it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will not be a transformer or an expensive problem, you know, because I don't have tons of money to throw at this amp. Although I did buy it on a good deal, really there's only about £150 worth of spare money to throw at this thing. So I really hope that it's nothing major. Transformers can be ridiculously expensive. You can pay £150 for a transformer on its own. So yeah, I'm going to play it to you. I'm going to let you hear what is wrong with it. You will be able to tell straight away. Okay guys, so now you're listening to me on the camera microphone, and the amp is on just below 1. As you can hear, the gain is all there, the preamp is there, it sounds pretty good at that level, actually, if I'm totally honest. But when I crank this up, I'm going to put this on 1.5 now. And when any other amp that is, you know, like a 100-watt tube, about 120 watt, whatever, is on 1.5, that is hellish loud usually and would be shaking the damn room down. I'll put it up to just above 2 now. Now usually I'm going to put it up to 3. 3 on the dial is rehearsal volume, depending on how loud your drummer and your PA is. But I've rehearsed on like 3.54 on a Peavey 6505, and it's hellish loud. Obviously, we're just sat in the studio here. This is a lot of power that is missing somehow for some reason. Okay guys, so you've heard the problem with the Peavey 6505. You can tell that, you know, in a room like this size, you shouldn't be able to get it up to like 3 and 3.5. It would really blow your head off if the amp was working properly, and all my other amps in here would blow your head off at that volume. Like I say, I love Peavey amps. They're really reliable. I don't know what's happened to this amp because I haven't owned it from new. I'm going to put on the screen now a shot of some wave files. And these wave files were when I tried to do a shootout between the 6505 and the 6505 Plus. And as you can see, the Peavey 6505 Plus is way louder. The files are much larger than the 6505. And that is the difference there. You've heard it. You can now see it on the screen. The difference in the waves. I'm going to take this amp away now. I'm going to get this thing fixed, and I'll let you know and update you in part 2 what was wrong with the amp, and do another video once it's come back to me and the problems are resolved and it is fixed. I will tell you what the problems are that Roswell amps found with the Peavey, and I will be able to show you that it is working again, and hopefully if you have any similar problems down the line, it will help diagnose your amp at home if you have a similar problem to this one.